Welcome to the Tech Ranch, live and local here on Super Talk 1270. The latest gadgets, online security, websites and apps, social media, and so much more. How can technology help you? Let's find out. It's time for the Tech Ranch on Super Talk 1270.
Mighty Missouri River. Here is your guru of geek, Marlo Anderson.
All right, Jim Walsh here on Super Talk 1270 and live and in Payson from the Consumer Electronics Show in beautiful Lost Wages, Nevada. It's a great town. You just what's the old joke? You want to make a bundle? You just get off the airplane and walk right into the propellers. I don't know. Let's say hello to Marlo Anderson. Marlo, you with me?
Hey, I am. How you doing today, Jim?
All righty, good. You know, I always get a little nervous when we do this by telephone, but we seem to be coming in pretty good. We sound 5 by 5 here. So where shall we begin? There's so much to talk about here.
A lot of things to talk about, absolutely. So I think what we'll do is just kind of go through some of the things. We were at CES Unveiled last night, which is a press event. They have about 100 companies that won awards and that type of thing for their innovative products. And there were some really unique things last night. So I think we should just start there, and we'll go down the list and talk about some of those products and where we think some of the stuff will go. And, of course, halfway through the show, Miss Metaverse will be joining us.
Yes.
And when Kate comes on with us, we'll talk a little bit about the wearables that will be coming out, because she's very in tune with that market, so we'll talk about that then. So let's start off with a bang here, Jim. I know you and I were just talking about this, but LG is thinking about releasing a television at the wonderful price of $99,999.99.
Okay, so if I bid $100,000, I would be. If this were the Price is Right, I'd be out of the picture right from the get-go.
That's right. You'd be a penny over and you'd lose. So.
Because we were talking earlier when we set this up, we were talking about the $100,000 TV. But it's not quite $100,000. You're saying it's a penny short.
Right.
Okay,
it's a penny less. So
well, in that case, maybe I can afford it. Yeah.
Page. I suppose at that level, they just don't want to call it the $100,000 television. But it's a beautiful TV. I mean, it's a 102-inch curved screen. The video that we were watching on it was simply stunning. I mean, of course, for $100,000, you would expect that. You'd expect it to wash your windows and make you breakfast too. I think for $100,000, but. It's an amazing television. They've made 3 of them, so they're not really sure if they're going to roll this out for the market to buy. But that's the thing with CES, is that you can come here and you can experiment with these different things and see if there's a market for it.
Yeah, I was going to say for $100,000 or $99,000 or whatever, is it really worth that kind of money for a TV?
I don't know. It could be, if you're a major company that wants to show it off or something. I just don't see the market there myself. But, of course, I don't make that kind of income. I mean, people who make that kind of money might consider it, So.
What kind of financing do they have available on it?
Yeah, good question. $29.99 for the rest of your life, I guess. So.
Pretty much.
Yeah, but it's interesting. I think you're going to see a lot of buzz about this TV. Simply because it is an amazing television. And, I guess when you think about it, and a lot of car manufacturers and those type of companies do this as well, they come out with a very high-priced model, so it makes the rest of the models they have look rather inexpensive.
Yeah, I would think so. Maybe that's the marketing behind it.
It might be. I mean, it may just be a marketing ploy, and they may just sell a few of them just because. So, yeah. So, anyway, I thought that was interesting last night. There's also a smart lamp that I thought was very intriguing. It's called the Single Snap Smart Lamp.
Okay.
And it is a lamp. Of course, it's connected to the Internet. It is the Internet of Things.
Oh, yeah.
But also has sensors in it, has a camera built into it. And what happens, I mean, it's just non-intrusive or, in your living space. But if somebody were to break into your house, it would actually record what's going on.
Now that is a smart lamp.
I think so too, and I think it's intriguing, and I think you're going to see more and more of these type of technologies. Where think of the all-in-one printer. When we first bought inkjet printers or laser printers, it just printed.
Right.
they came out and they added the fax to it, and then they added a place for you to put your smartphone in there so you could print photos, and they built a scanner into it and that type of thing. I think you're going to start seeing more and more of these technologies being combined into ways that make it easy for you to use in your living space.
So you can do pretty much anything you need to do right there in your living room.
Yeah, exactly. And this smart lamp, of course, it'll charge your smartphone, so it's got a couple of USB plugs on it. It does a lot of these different things. You can set the mood. If you want to have a lower level of light coming from it, you can do that as well. I mean, it's pretty cool, and of course, all controlled from the internet.
And nobody's thought of doing this before?
Well, I would imagine maybe, but I think we're at the time now when you can start merging these technologies, and it's practical and probably less expensive than it was 5 or 10 years ago.
Yeah, I was going to say maybe it was just a matter that the technology was not quite ready to put it all together.
Exactly. So now all the pieces have come together, and they're able to start doing things like this. So another one that was really interesting last night was a product called Perfect Bake. And I think this is kind of ingenious. Do you bake or cook at all, Jim?
I microwave.
Okay. Well, I get that too.
Bowl of oatmeal in the morning, and I'm out the door.
Okay. So the Perfect Bake, it comes. First of all, it's going to retail for $70. Okay. And it comes with a scale. It comes with an oven thermometer.
Not to be confused with the Easy Bake. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Not to be confused with the Easy Bake.
Right, exactly.
A little 10-watt light bulb.
I thought of that right away, too, when I seen this.
Yeah.
So what happens is there's a variety of recipes, and you can, using these 3 bowls and a scale, it'll tell you how to mix the ingredients, and then you put the thermometer in what you're baking, and it'll tell you when it's ready. So you can make cookies, cakes, muffins, pies, other baked goods. They have just thousands and thousands of recipes with this. So if you're not real good at baking, this would actually, up your game a little bit. And the one thing that I thought was really interesting about this is they have a portion in the app that comes with this called pantry mode. So what you do is you add the ingredients that you currently have in your fridge and cupboard, and then the app will tell you what you can make from that.
Oh.
So Sunday morning, you're up and you're thinking, oh, what can I make for lunch today or something, right? You can actually throw the ingredients you have in your house, into this app, and it'll come out with what you can make with this. I think that's actually ingenious.
I've got powdered sugar and anchovies. What can I do with that for breakfast, Sunday brunch, if you will?
That would be kind of funny. Actually.
That would be kind of weird.
So anyway, it's called the Perfect Bake, and expect it to be sold later in the year in the States here for around $70. So
well, that's definitely cool. Something I have to look into. My wife is an okay cook. I'm not much of a cook at all. I think in terms of my skills, I have nowhere to go but up. So I would definitely want something like that. That would be handy to have around the house.
Well, for $70, I mean, if you were going to experiment with cooking a little bit, you would waste that just in throwing stuff away. Here, you're going to be perfect every time.
Yeah. Yeah, or a big night on the town. You want to go out for a big meal at a local restaurant. You can blow $60-$70 easily.
Absolutely. So, well, I think before we get into other things, let's get to our break, Jim, and then we'll come back and start talking about other things you've seen last night at CES Unveiled.
Fantastic. More with Marlo Anderson at the Consumer Electronics Show in beautiful Las Vegas. Coming up in just a few minutes, it's the Tech Ranch at Cool. No, it's not cool. It is cool, but it's I get my stations mixed up very easily. It's Super Talk 1270 and supertalk1270.com. I need more coffee.
Right now, 6 below.
Get the traffic and weather information you need anytime on Super Talk 1270 and online at supertalk1270.com.
Follow the Guru of Geek at facebook.com/The Tech Ranch or Twitter at Guru of Geek or thetechranch.com. Here again is your Guru of Geek, Marlo Anderson.
And we're available live here at Super Talk 1270 and via podcast at supertalk1270.com. We're also on TuneIn, on your mobile device. And, oh, yes, be sure and pick us up on your mobile device live via the free app from Town Square Media called Radio Pup. Now, Marlo, how's the weather in Vegas? I guess we should ask, because it's terrible here.
Yeah, I heard, I hate when I leave home and come down here and then the mercury falls out of the thermometer. It's like in the 30s. It's not excessively warm here either, but it's certainly a lot warmer than it is there.
I would take the 30s in a New York minute, let me tell you.
Yeah, 30 and sun. It is freezing a little bit here in the mornings, but
so they do have 4 seasons
45 during the day, and I think it's supposed to get warmer as the week goes on. So hopefully, I'll see some of that wonderful Las Vegas weather here as we're here as well. So
now, do they have 4 seasons?
Go ahead.
Yeah, do they have 4 seasons in Las Vegas?
I think they have 2.
Okay, or 2.5.
Warm and hot.
Gotcha.
With the occasional touch of winter. It did snow here last week.
Oh, okay.
So it does happen occasionally.
Yeah. So where to begin here? We're back here at the Consumer Electronics Show. Well, actually, you're at the Consumer Electronics Show. I'm sitting here in Bismarck twiddling the knobs. And I guess we should talk a little bit, Marlo, about the medical technology. We touched upon this a week or two ago, and you're talking about the kind of stuff that you wear, technology that you wear, and how it can be a benefit from a medical standpoint.
Yeah, and actually, Jim, I think we'll wait until Kate joins us in a few minutes because she's really knowledgeable in that area, and I want to bring her in on that conversation as well.
All right.
So let's do that with Kate. We have a couple other things, too. Of course, drones.
Yes, I was thinking about that.
Yeah. This I believe will be the year of the drone.
The year of the drone.
Quite frankly, I mean, it's amazing the technology that you're going to see. Everything from and most of it is they use the word getting a different view. It could be inspecting a house. So you may have an insurance adjuster that instead of getting up on a ladder and inspecting your roof, will deploy a drone to do the work for them. Pipeline inspections, of course, agriculture. I think you're going to see an unbelievable amount of technology with drones in agriculture this year.
There was an article in online about a week ago about somebody who was using a drone to examine a piece of real estate and quite by accident discovered a serious pollution problem in some river.
Oh, wow.
And I can see the government using it for those issues as well, just hover it over a piece of swampland or whatever it is to see how things look.
Absolutely, and that's the whole point of this. It's giving you a different look. I mean, you can fly an airplane or a helicopter over something as well, but of course the cost of doing that is exorbitant. And then you also have the issue that, if you have an airplane going over something, the airplane isn't flying off the ground or over your roof at 2 or 3 feet. It's still quite a ways up in the air and moving at a good rate of speed. So the ability to take a good photograph is greatly diminished, when you throw those things, into that. Yeah. When you have a drone that's hovering over something at a couple of feet, I mean, you can look at insects in your crops, because it's just right there. And, and that's what makes it unique. And, of course, an aerial view of something, just like you were talking about, can point out, things that are going on that you wouldn't see by being on the ground.
Sure. So it's not just, there's a lot of concern, of course, about the diabolical possibilities of, surveillance and all that. But there is some good to come from it as well.
There is. And, we were going through an electronics store down here, and they had drones in that sub-$200 range now.
Okay.
So when you think about that, it actually is becoming affordable for everybody to start utilizing this stuff. Now, of course, the more expensive ones, and when I say that, the more expensive ones are still in the sub-$1,000 range.
Yeah.
Have great ability, and of course, if you're willing to spend $2,000 to $5,000 or more, you get amazing drones and the things that they can do. But there's no reason that if you're thinking about starting to use some of this stuff, if you spent $400 or $500 on a drone, you'd probably have a pretty good aircraft, and you could at least learn how to fly it and that type of thing before you start moving up. That's what I would always suggest, is that you learn on something less expensive, because you don't want to be destroying a $4,000 or $5,000 drone the first time you go out.
Yeah, you don't want to run it right into the ground from square one, which is probably what I would do.
Exactly what I would do as well.
Yeah.
So anyway, I think you're going to see a lot in the world of drones. And then speaking of drones, now this caught my eye, but it has nothing to do with drones, but it's a company called Drone Mobile. And it's a product for cars. It's a smartphone-enabled remote start and security product. Now, of course, they've had remote starts that you can use with your smartphone for a while.
Yeah.
But what's interesting about this one is that when I was looking at it, it looks like anybody can plug this in and use it. It actually mounts below the car's dashboard. So it plugs into that little, whatever you call it, that you would program or look at, like when your engine light goes on, you put that little device in there that reads what's going on. That's where you plug this thing into, and then you can start your car from it. If your engine light does go on, it'll tell your smartphone what's going on with your car. I mean, it's pretty cool.
Oh, I like that. That's one step beyond what we have now, right?
It is, and of course you don't have a remote control with your, that you'd have in your pocket or whatever. You would actually use your smartphone to start your car. So it's just one less thing that you have to carry along with you if you're already carrying a smartphone anyway.
Yeah.
So that's kind of cool. And, of course, the reach is dramatically farther than you would have with the remote that you'd be carrying with you as well. So.
I would think the next step, Marlo, from having a remote start, especially here, would be to have some kind of little remote control thing where you can actually back up the car out of the parking space and pull it right up to the door, so you can just come out the door and just jump right in the nice warm car.
Well, it's interesting that you bring that up, Jim.
Oh. Do tell.
Yeah, they actually, there's actually some stuff in the works to make that happen right now. And they actually there's a couple cars that will park themselves, and even in a shopping mall type of situation, I'm sure you've run into this before, where it looks like it'd be too tight for you to actually park the car and then get out.
Yeah.
You can't open the door far enough, right? Well, you could actually stop and then drive the car in with your smart device, and then when you come back out, you can actually pull it back out again and never, open the door into somebody else's car or what have you. And, of course, the next step in that evolution is that if you're at the shopping mall or whatever, it will actually drive to your door.
I love it.
And pick you up. So there are some things that are in the works with that as well.
That'd be nice not to have to walk across a cold parking lot on a day like this, at least here in Bismarck.
Absolutely. There's a lot of advantages to that. And, of course, trying to carry all those packages or whatever, all the food that you have in a shopping cart, you wouldn't have to push the shopping cart through the slushy lot. Try saying that fast 3 times.
I did it at Walmart the other day. I mean, my wife and I had to go shopping, and that's exactly what we had to do.
Yep. So it would be nice that you didn't have to do that anymore. So there's a lot of cool things there. So, and then speaking of cars as well, or automotive type of technology, I'm sure you're familiar with Escort.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, they've made radar detectors for many, many years.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, I haven't followed Escort for a while. I haven't had a radar detector in my car in a long time. Have you ever had one in yours?
I've never had one. I've seen them. I know they work.
Yep.
Are they used to be illegal in a couple of states.
Well, and I think they are.
Yeah. Virginia is one state where you cannot use them.
Exactly. And they're, of course, very frowned upon by law enforcement. But Escort's kind of combating, and I think they've had declining sales because of the legalities of this stuff they do. So they've come out with a live app that provides real-time information on, everything from where speed traps may be to the location of those red light cameras.
Right.
So I don't know, I'm not saying this is good or bad. It's just that it's a way that a company can maybe, change their direction a little bit and use the current technologies they have and still stay in existence.
Well, what's interesting,
I thought that was interesting.
What's interesting is you have Big Brother watching you, and now we have technology where we can watch Big Brother watch us. And next thing you know, they're going to have technology to watch us, watching them, watching us. And, how far we're going to go with it.
Probably a long way.
A long way. It's like the anti-missile.
Exactly. So let's see. What else before we bring Kate on?
Got about 2 minutes for the break.
Speakers.
What kind of speakers?
Multi-room speakers. These are wireless speakers.
Yeah.
I think we've talked about Sonos before, where you can push music to one room, and then you have the home theater going in another room. They're all tied together, but they can play independent of each other or all together if you want.
Right.
And because Sonos has been so successful with this, there are many other companies, including LG and Samsung, that are coming out with multi-room speakers as well. So expect great competition in this marketplace, which should drive prices down because Sonos is okay as far as pricing goes, but if you were to outfit your entire house with them, you could easily spend a couple $1,000s doing that. I think that price point will dramatically drop in the next year or two simply because there's more competition there now.
So you're suggesting that if we're thinking about this, we should maybe sit on it for a few months.
Yeah, you always want to buy the technology that you need at the time. If you were to wait, you'd never buy anything.
Well, that's true, yeah.
Yeah. But with that said, I think that the prices will be falling simply because there's more competition there. So if you want to wait 3 or 6 months, especially after CES here, and find out what's going to be coming out, probably not a bad idea in this realm.
Yeah. All right. More with Marlo Anderson from the Consumer Electronics Show, and we will be hearing from Miss Metaverse in a couple of minutes here. She'll be calling in, and we'll get back to it. In the meantime, we'll take some calls as well, but hang in there because we've got still much, much more to go with Miss Metaverse and, of course, Marlo Anderson from Las Vegas. Viva Las Vegas, baby! At the Consumer Electronics Show, all part of this week's Tech Ranch. More to come. Hang in there.
Right now, 6 below.
Get the app called Radio Pup for your iPhone and take us everywhere you go. Bismarck and Mandan's own Super Talk 1270.
We're back to the Tech Ranch. Stream this program now at supertalk1270.com. Here is your guru of geek, Marlo Anderson.
Viva Las Vegas, baby. Once again from the Consumer Electronics Show. Let's welcome Miss Metaverse and the man with the plan, the king of tech himself, Marlo Anderson, or Guru of Geek, I guess we're calling him now, right?
That's right. It's stamped on my forehead, Jim. You should know this.
Yes, I should. It's been a long day for me. I've been up early. That's my official excuse for everything now.
And I'm not sure if we've ever done this before, but I think we have. Kate, are you on the line there as well?
Yes, I am. Hello.
All right. So due to unforeseen circumstances, Kate is actually coming to you from the New York area.
Oh.
She was unable to attend this year, which is unfortunate. We were really looking forward to having her down here in Las Vegas, but we're still going to talk a lot about wearable technologies, and so I'm just going to kind of throw things up in the air, and Jim and Kate, you can just kind of comment on these things and see where you think these are going to go. And the first thing that I have is a product called Belty, B-E-L-T-Y. It is an adjustable belt, and it does it by itself. So think of Marty McFly in Back to the Future. I think he was wearing a belt that would adjust by itself. So if you overeat or something, the belt will give you a little more room. If it thinks that you need to snug it up a little bit, it'll do that by itself. So what are your thoughts about that, Kate?
I think this is great. I mean, this is really probably one of the funniest but most clever innovations that I've heard of in a while when it comes to fashion, because how many times does that happen? I mean, and basically, it's so ugly when you have those other types of belts in the past where you had to just unloosen them and they just look, not so clever. I think it's interesting. It does remind me of Back to the Future. It's got kind of an 80s look to it, I have to say.
Well, of course, it is a prototype, so what I find interesting, of course, for me is that, if I have a notch in the belt, of course, it's either too loose or too tight. I mean, there's never a nice fit, So I think the Belty kind of handles that. They have no idea what this is going to cost yet. I don't think. I talked to them last night, and they were not going to put out a price at CES here. But there might be something out there where they're talking about what it's going to run. But it's an interesting concept. And the thing I like about this, whether it makes it or not, is that it's a wearable that's not a monitor type of deal, because it seems like all the wearables that we have now are monitoring things, and that's okay. I'd like to see that market start getting a little more diversified, and I think this is the first step in that direction.
Absolutely. I think it's making this wearable technology relatable for the everyday world. A lot of us maybe don't want to get too involved with putting our data online, and I think that this is definitely a device, a belt that anybody can wear. Looks very masculine from what I've seen. I don't know if they're going to come out with belts for women, but I'm sure that the idea could definitely help women as well. So
I would imagine if it takes off that they will certainly have some fashion sense to them. So Jim, would you buy a belt that would adjust itself?
I kind of like the idea. I remember an old comic from Med Magazine, I think it was, where the guy had a belt and his wife commented that, "Oh, you must be losing weight. Good for you. I see you've taken up a couple of notches." And, of course, the joke was he simply went out and bought a bigger belt. And I'm trying to think of how that would work with this newfangled device. And my wife would come and say, "Oh, hey, your belt, you're loose. Your belt is looser." "Oh, yeah. Well, yes, dear. Yes, of course. Sure. Whatever you say." Yeah.
Yeah, cool. So, okay. So going on then, Ring. Have you looked at Ring yet, Kate?
No, I haven't.
Okay. So it's just like it sounds. It's a ring that you wear, okay? But it is a wearable device. And what it does is it works in combination with your smart device. So if you have a tablet, it works really well with a tablet, but of course it'll work with your smartphone as well. But it allows you to do gestures with this, more so than what you normally would. And you can actually, let's say you want to write something on the screen, you can just take your finger with the ring on it and sign away, like if you're going to do a signature for a transaction or something like that, you could just do that without actually touching the screen. So it basically makes any screen a touch screen without having the cost of having that touch screen, in that computer or what have you. So it's pretty clever.
Well, I actually was watching a series called Black Mirror last night on Netflix, and you would love that show. It's very dystopian, but they have a lot of really neat technologies that they feature. And one of the things that they had in the episode I was watching last night was like this ring device where it seems like they're able to use something that they can just, make gestures to make commands on their computer, whether that be by playing games or making purchases. So I think this is a great step towards getting there where we could, be hands-free. And I think hands-free is where we're headed with all this wearable technology anyway. So I think it's definitely a good device to look into.
I would buy one under one condition, that they would have to make the charging device in the shape of a green lantern. And you would hold it up, "Let those who worship evil's might, blah, 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 blah." In that case, I might get one.
Well, we'll have to look into that.
You stand there looking, feeling really cool for about 15 seconds out of the day,
Well, I think what's interesting with Ring, and, I didn't get a chance to talk to them last night, but I see a lot of applications, and especially, in the driving arena, if they were to be able to sync the Ring, let's say to your stereo, so you don't have to reach down and, change channels. If you could just wave your hand, and it would go from channel to channel if you're browsing looking for a good song or what have you.
Yeah.
Or if you needed to turn it up, you could just turn your hand to turn it up or turn it the other way or counterclockwise to turn the radio down. And there's a lot of cool things that you could do with that. And I'm just picking on a car. I would imagine that there's all kinds of other ways that Ring could be incorporated into things.
Yeah.
Yes, I was actually watching the video for Ring, and one of the scenes that they show in their Indiegogo video is a guy's driving and he's making these hand gestures while he's got his hands on the wheels, and that's commanding the radio. So I think what we're heading is going to be a lot of new ways of communicating with one another, and I think that we will be finding more devices like Ring. They're going to let us communicate without having to speak and making gestures instead. So I think it's a good thing.
So if he wants to flip off the radio, he can actually flip off the radio.
Yeah, exactly.
Gotcha.
Well, just imagine all the gangs back in like the 80s and 90s that could have used the Ring, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep, exactly. So, well, the next one that I ran into last night is a product called Hero, and that's actually H-E-R-E-O. So
Hero.
And what this Hero, Hereo, and what it is a watch for children. You know, it's designed in a way that it's kind of fun. You know, that kids will actually wear this device. It's a digital watch, so it tells them the time. But there's a GPS tracker built into it, so that the parents can keep tabs of their children.
Oh, well, yes.
Yeah.
I think that there are many pros and cons here when it comes to this type of technology. There's the people that would love to know that, you know, that the children are safe and be able to check in with them. And then there's also the fears of, you know, cybersecurity being an issue with this as well. But I'm sure that the technology is safe and that this is probably a good thing, especially for people who don't want to basically give their kids a device like an iPhone yet, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's perfect for that. And, of course, you know, if you're a 4 or 5-year-old or whatever, why would you not be excited about getting your first watch? And it doesn't have to be something that you tell your kids that you have, that there's a GPS tracker in it. I mean, you want to encourage them to wear it, of course, and they have a little bit of fun with it. But I think it's an interesting thing, and I agree with you, Kate. I mean, we're not going to get into the security issues of these things right now. We'll save that for another show because there's just so much to go over.
Yeah.
But I think this is a good thing, and you know, of course, we already have these particular products for our pets, and you know, if you're ever concerned about, and what parent hasn't gone through this, you know, where their toddler or whatever decides to, you know, go outside in the yard to play, and then the next thing you know, they've opened the gate and they're down the street, or you're in a shopping center, and you know, in 2 seconds they are down another lane or something.
Yeah,
This
they wander
gives
off
you a
pretty
little bit of
quickly.
peace of
Sure.
mind.
Definitely. It's all about peace of mind, and I think that this watch definitely is going to help parents have that peace of mind, and also it's going to entertain kids without having to be distracted by all the other devices that kids are given these days. So it's good.
Yep, very, very cool. So then the next thing I ran into, and this is where we're really going to get into the health part of the wearable market. I'm sure there was 100 companies that were displaying at CES unveiled last night. I'm going to guess at least 20 to 25 of them were around wearables designed for fitness or medical. You know, for whatever reason, they're tracking things or whatever. So there's just a huge amount of interest in this area, and most of them are watches and bracelets and that type of thing, and they're all unique. They're all going after their little niches as far as their market share. But the one that I found really interesting was a product called FitLinks, FitLinxx, FitLinks. And this resembles a Band-Aid. And I guess instead of wearing it on your wrist or whatever, they suggest you wear it like right underneath your rib cage, and you get dramatically better results because of this. And it stays in place for 4 to 7 days, and then you just replace the adhesive that's on the back of this amp strip, and away you go again. So, and again, it reminded me of a Band-Aid.
It does look like a Band-Aid, actually. And I think that we're seeing more of these devices recently that are going to be attaching to the body like this. Would you wear something like this, Marlo?
Well, I suppose if, you know, I was being monitored for whatever. I mean, if I wanted to know, if my doctor was concerned about my heart rate or what have you, I would certainly wear this. It would certainly be better than some of the monitoring technologies that are out there now, because you wouldn't even know you were wearing this.
Right. It's invisible, it's innovative, and it does remind you of kind of being like at the doctor's. So, but I think if you're into fitness and health and you really want to get the best results, then that's great.
Yep, absolutely. And Jim, I think we're at our break time here, so let's go to our break, and then after that, everybody, we will continue our conversation with Miss Metaverse and producer extraordinaire Jim Walsh, and we will talk more about wearables and medical. So come on back.
Right now, 6 below.
Your news leader, weeknights at 6 and 10. Super Talk 1270.
Follow the Guru of Geek everywhere he goes. Post your comments or questions at thetechranch.com. Once again, your Guru of Geek, Marlo Anderson.
Once again, Marlo from Las Vegas, and from New York, it's Miss Metaverse. Where shall we go from here, guys?
Well, let's talk about more of the interesting devices and innovation we're going to see at CES this year. So
Go ahead, Kate. Go ahead and talk about what you would like, or what you're thinking that will come out at CES here.
Yes. Well, we were talking about, before we went to break, we were talking about how new technologies will help us better our bodies, just like the strip that you put on, what was it called before? It's like the piece you put on before when it reads your heart while you're training.
You're talking about what I just was talking about, the Fit Links?
Yes. So where we're headed with this type of technology is that now there's also a headpiece called Muse, M-U-S-E, and it's a brain-sensing headband. So it promises that by wearing this headband, it reads your EEG reading, and it promises that you'll get a better brain in 3 minutes a day. So by focusing on certain things, you can actually do activities for your brain to, I guess, strengthen your mind, which is pretty interesting. What do you think about that?
That's interesting, and I guess one of the things that when you're picking Alzheimer's a little bit and those type of diseases, they've always stated that if there was ways that you could exercise your brain more, that it would actually help stave off the progression of those diseases. So if that would be one of the big things that I would see with that.
Definitely. There's a lot of really neat devices, and I found that probably one of the biggest trends is, do you feel that audio is probably one of the most widely, I guess, common devices that you'll see at CES this year?
Well, it always is, and what I find interesting and what I'm excited to see is that, I've always thought that audio and wearable technology, there's got to be somebody that comes up with something that the masses would use, and I'm hoping to see some of that this year.
Definitely. Another thing I actually saw that looked pretty neat was the company Stele Audio, who I actually met with them during the summer. I met them at an event here at the Javits Center in New York City. And Stele Audio created a wearable tech necklace that's an audio earbud locket. So it looks like a jewel locket that women would wear, and it has Bluetooth headphones inside. And it's kind of, I guess, making it a little bit more trendy to carry around our earbuds when we're out and about, we're using our phones, or we're working out. So I think it's pretty interesting to see how people are coming up with new ways to integrate things like headphones or earbuds into our everyday lives.
Okay, that's interesting. There's also a company called Neurometrics that we visited with last night, too. They come out with a product called Quell, and it's Quell. It's a wearable device that you wear 24 hours a day, and it's actually designed to help manage chronic pain, sleep disorders, neurological diseases. So that's interesting as well, and I didn't know, unfortunately don't get a lot of chance at Unveiled to visit with people in detail about their products, but it will be interesting to see, how this device will actually help you manage pain.
Definitely. I think that there's a lot of people out there that could probably benefit from any non-medicinal type of products like that if they really do help with chronic back pain or any kind of pain. So I hope to see things like that come out in the near future.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's, as far as medicine and wearables, outside of tracking, this is the type of thing that I think you're going to start seeing is, ways to, and you even see that commercial where you kind of put that knee brace, or I should say a brace, but this wearable piece underneath your knee to handle the pain in your lower back. I mean, these are the things that we're starting to discover out there. And, wearable technology doesn't have to be something that has a Bluetooth or something built into it or GPS tracking or whatever. It's designed to make us feel better, and manage our lives better.
Absolutely. I think that, we're going to benefit a lot from some of the great things coming out. And as we discussed in one of our last shows, is now even when blood testing, we're seeing those new medical devices that are making it easier for us to keep up to date with our health. So I hope to see more of that in the future.
So I know we're coming up to the end of the show here, and there's one other thing I wanted to talk to you about, and that's passwords. So are you like me where you have like a million passwords and don't remember them all?
Yes, absolutely.
It drives me insane.
Me too.
I got to tell you. Yeah. How about you, Jim?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I've got passwords for school. I got passwords for work. I got passwords for personal stuff. I've got them all written down somewhere.
And the thing is you have to, we talk about it all the time on the show that the number one thing you can do to protect your stuff is to change your passwords frequently, because you never know if somebody is spying on you on your computer, if you got some type of virus that's doing some key logging or what's going on. So to protect yourself is to change those passwords. And, of course, all of these companies that you do business with or whatever require different parameters for their passwords as well. So even if you wanted to use the same password and everything, sometimes you just can't do that, and you got to change them up all the time or whatever, so it's difficult. So Intel debuted a new password manager app at CES here, and it uses facial recognition.
Ah.
Wow.
So the app goes on your smart device or in your computer or what have you, and when you go to your bank, I mean, it'll actually set up the password. You don't even know what the password is because it just sets it up according to the facial recognition. And then when you go back there, it'll scan your face in front of your webcam or what have you.
It actually reads the lines in your face, So, scans your face.
What do you guys think of that?
I like it.
How about you, Kate?
Great. Yeah, I think it's great. Just like you, Marlo, I have so many passwords. It's so frustrating for all of us to be able to keep up with it. And I sometimes I'm just wondering, like, is there some, gnome that goes on my computer and secretly changes my passwords in the middle of the night? How do I not remember this stuff? So I'd love to have this kind of device. And I definitely look forward to being able to have better kind of management systems for things like passwords. And I think using facial recognition is an interesting new twist on it, and I think that it may be better than using our thumbprints like we can for our iPhone devices already. Using the thumbprints doesn't always work that well. Sometimes you might have to wipe your phone to use your thumbprint, or it doesn't work all that well. So I'm hoping that this facial recognition system is a little bit more reliable.
Well, and I think, the one thing I've learned about Intel over the years, whether you like the company or you don't, they usually don't bring something to market unless it works well. I mean, that's the one thing that I have always seen with Intel. They actually tend to caution or err on the side of caution, before they bring stuff out. So I'm betting that this works as well as they expect, and it'll be interesting to see how this gets rolled out.
Absolutely. And and before we go, too, one last thing. Polaroid is actually going to be at CES this year, and they're actually getting into some new kind of products now. They're doing an instant digital camera, a dash cam for your cars. So when you're driving, you have a dash cam. You can record basically anything while you're driving, which is good, too. If you get into an accident, it'd be helpful to have a dash cam so you could be able to go back and be able to prove, I guess, who was in the wrong or whatnot or what happened.
2-minute warning, guys.
Yeah. So we have, and I agree with the dash cam thing, Kate. They certainly, and it's a big thing in Europe, by the way. I mean, there are dash cams everywhere. We just don't have a lot of them here, and I've seen a couple of them last night as well. So I think you're going to see a lot of new dash cams coming out, and under that sub $100 range. So they'll be affordable to put on in your car as well.
That's great. I think that's definitely great. And you're right. Europe has been doing it for quite some time now, so I think it's going to be coming here soon in America as well.
All right, so I think we're going to wrap her up there, Jim. Of course, you and I are doing daily updates from CES, so we invite people to listen to those And, of course, you can follow all of what we're doing here at CES at www.thetechranch.com. And, Kate, I'm assuming you're going to be posting some stuff on your site as well. Why don't you mention that?
Yes, absolutely. You can come visit me at futuristmm.com. That's futuristmm.com. And I look forward to seeing how you fare over at CES, Marlo.
All right. Thanks, everybody. And to everybody listening, Happy New Year.